starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
The time is now. The time is now. The time is now. I'm Trent, and this is Vision Preparedness. The time is now. The time is now. Good evening, everyone. How is everybody doing on this wonderful, blustery, cold, wet, rain, snow, whatever it may be, Tuesday? How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody today had an amazing day. Welcome in, welcome in. We got an amazing live stream tonight, folks, and let's see who's in the building. For everybody coming in, please, last one in the door, please close the door and wipe your feet because it is cold and wet outside. It is 27 degrees here in the great state of Ohio. Ghost Lincoln, my man, an amazing moderator and very good friend of mine. Good to see you, my brother. How are you? Thank you, Dan H., for the 5x5. Kevin Ramsey, what's going on, my brother? What's going on? Another one of my amazing moderators, Ms. Coffee First. Then speak. Gotta have the coffee on a cold day because it makes the world a little brighter. Good to see you, Coffee, and I know you'll be right back. Johnny Preps, my man, good to see you. Hope everything is doing well up there in New Yorkistan and everything is going okay for you and your family. Thank you for the 5x5 again, Dan H. Prepper Book Club is in the building. Good to see you, my brother. Loretta, family, how are you? I hope you had a great day. Welcome home, and everything is going well here. Oops, good to see you, good to see you, good to see you. Hope you're doing well today. The Virginia Bushcrafter. If I didn't speak to you, my friend, good morning. How are you? Hope you're having a great day, good afternoon, and good evening. Hope everything is well in your neck of the woods. Who else we got in here? Teresa, good to see you as well. Miss D's Hollywood Garden, welcome in, welcome in. All of you amazing folks. Queenie Eats, good evening. Hello, how are you? And welcome to our channel tonight. Hope you're having a great day. Who else is in the building? Y'all are just piling in here and all of that good stuff. Who else? My Renaissance Grandma. There she is. Hope you're doing well today. Hope you had an amazing day and everything is well in your parts of these great United States of America. My man, Devil Dog Prepper. Good to see you, my friend. Hope everything is well. He said hello and good evening. Hope y'all are doing well. We're doing well here, Devil Dog, another one of my good friends. Hope you're doing well. Ohio Strong is showing up tonight, and y'all know how we do it. OH, and life goes on. Yes, yes, and yes. Paper Buttons 19, how are you? Hope you had a great day today. Hope everything is going well for you and everybody else that's piling in here that I may have missed. The Roaming Prepper, my man. Good to see you, Pete. Hope everything is well. Hope you're having a traveling time. If you're still traveling, knowing you probably are. Hope you're doing well and everything's going well for you and your family, sir. Good to see you and thank you for stopping by. Mike O'Rourke, good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well and having a great evening. My man, Jay Creature. Jay Creature says, plot twist, Vision is in a bunker with Zuckerberg. Well, if that's the case, as Mad Max would say, 2 men in, 1 man out. There you go. That wouldn't be a bad idea, Jay Creature. Then I could take it over, then we could all come over and do what we have to do. But yes, welcome in, folks. Wellness with Frugal Mama. Good to see you. Thank you for coming by tonight. Hope you had a great day. Thank you so much, Jay Creature. Dude, I'm gonna tell you, man, that video was probably my most challenging video when it came to editing because the guys were texting and I was trying to edit video and answer text and get in their conversation, and it turned into like 3 hours and I still wasn't 100% satisfied, but thank you so much. I appreciate it. Most definitely. As the Roaming Prepper says, hello, Vision Preparedness and chat. Check the like button before we forget. Thank you for that public service announcement, Pete. I appreciate you. Sue D, welcome in. Good to see you. Good to see you. And everybody else that came in, I want to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If I did not personally speak to you, do not take it personally because I'm trying to quit talking so I can get our amazing guest up here this evening because, folks, we have what I call an amazing person in the prepping community, new to YouTube. I'll say that because I'm sure he's not new to preparedness and everything else in the building. And without further ado, folks, I'm going to bring up our guest, but I saw something in the chat first. Jay Creature, my friend, thank you, Jay Creature, for the donation. As y'all know, all donations go back into the channel and to bring you folks amazing content and special events. Absolutely. Whiteside Tacticals, welcome in, my brother. Good to see you. F. Peer, I am so glad to see you. So, folks, without further ado, we're going to get this thing going. I would like to bring to the stage a friend of mine, a great man in his own self, and he is new to the YouTube Preparedness family. I want everybody to give a kind and warm welcome to my friend, Pennsylvania Preparedness. Good to see you, my brother. How you doing this evening? You're still muted. There we go. Nope.
How's that?
There you go. How you doing this evening?
Doing pretty good. How are you
Good.
doing?
Doing well. Folks, one of my amazing moderators, do me a favor, and if you could, go grab the link to Pennsylvania Preparedness YouTube channel and drop it in the chat. Folks, do me a favor. I would truly like to see him get to 250 or more tonight. So if you don't mind, please go watch a video, leave a like, leave a comment. And if you like what he's doing, subscribe to his channel. You can even say in your comment that I held a double barrel cup of coffee to your head, and that's why you're here. But with that, Pennsylvania, introduce yourself to everybody and tell them a little bit about yourself and your channel before we dive into tonight's topic.
All right. Well, I guess the best way to put it is I've always sort of been into preparedness from when I was very young. I was in Boy Scouts, and their motto is "Be prepared." And from that, growing up, I've just been in the mentality almost the whole time. I've been
Mhm.
an EMT, a firefighter. I've been a correctional officer, currently a dispatcher. So I've always sort of been in emergency services in one way or another. I've worked a lot of security jobs, and just pretty much when COVID rolled around is when I started to realize that there was this community of preparedness minded people. And
Mhm.
I just sort of was drawn to it and realized, that's my type of people because I'm already into preparedness. So might as well make it an official thing and call myself, somebody who is a prepper or preparedness minded. So that's when I made the YouTube channel after a few people said to me I have some unique experiences, and I figured even if I can, teach one person one new thing, that's all. That's all it's really about is just giving somebody a unique or new perspective on things, or even rekindling their love or whatever it is for prepping and just getting out there and getting started again.
Yeah. Exactly. And I, as you were talking, I was sitting here trying to figure out how I came across you. I think it was from Penny Pinching Prepper.
Probably.
You were on his live, and I was like, "Who is this?" I'm like, "Wait a minute, this guy knows what he's talking about. I need to check him out." And ever since then, we have gotten to know each other.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, but CUCV Farmer, welcome in the house. Welcome in. And I saw somebody else, Urban Gardening Chronicles. How are you? Good to see you as well. Um, but yeah, so I'll ask the question that everybody asks. What got you into prepping?
What got me into prepping in the sense that most of us are more familiar with.
Hmm.
I mean, there was one time it was pretty gnarly, but I was still always able to go out. I was working in the prison at the time, and
Okay.
got I got COVID about 4 times, being that close to everybody in there. It spread like wildfire. So the first time I got it, and I was like, oh, I can't go to the store with COVID. So what do I do? Luckily I had more than 2 weeks worth of food, but I was like,
Mhm.
what if this had been some illness where it put me down for the count, or um, it was something that lasted longer, and even the stores at first were shut down. So I was just thinking to myself, like, maybe I should actually start making lists and actually preparing things for another event like this. And that's where my whole prepper mentality, because I was always prepared, but
Mhm.
I want to say it was in the traditional sense of somebody who's just overall prepared, not somebody who has everything in containers and lists and, does it.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a big wake up call. And that's when YouTube became my friend. And I started seeing all the fine folks on here. And I was like, huh, okay. So I can actually take some of these people's tips and apply it to what I already have and make it better and improve and maybe even come up with my own things.
Right. Exactly. And we're going to dive into tonight's topic because I know you have a EMT background, medical background, and all of that good stuff as well as I do. And folks, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to talk about some first aid essentials and what you should have minimum, and then we'll build upon that. So with that, uh, Pennsylvania, what do you suggest would be the minimum things somebody should have in a first aid kit?
The minimums are going to have to be things like band-aids, gauze, roll gauze, antiseptic ointment. Um, Honestly, just your basic first aid kit that you can go to the store, buy. Walmart has them pretty cheap. One of the first aid kits I have up in my bathroom is a Walmart first aid kit. But the best part about those is if if it doesn't have everything that you ultimately want, you can always add to it and take from it and improve it. But just getting your basic run of the mill first aid kit is essential because it's
Yeah,
and it does have a lot of the things that you'll need for everyday first aid needs.
yeah. And I think my first aid kit I bought from Walmart, and I can't think of the brand, but it was one of those in a green plastic kit that freaking glows in the dark.
Oh,
And from that, I literally looked at that and everything in it. I said, "Oh," but I said, you know what? I can build my own better."
mm-hmm.
And then that's where my business started and what we do and all of that, and it just grew from there. But folks, the biggest thing, and I am a avid proponent for professional training. Stop the bleed course, CPR, AED course. Everybody should take that. And we got to the point where I said, you know what, we're going to teach this. And as fast as our government does and moves, we applied to teach, stop the bleed, which is overseen by, I'm doing air quotes for those listening, overseen by the Department of Defense. It literally took them a year to approve us to teach it. And so now we're getting our sim kits and all that good stuff so we can start teaching it. But I want to address this comment Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival just said. They done it. The Supreme Court in Colorado has removed Trump from the primary ballot in 2024. I'll say this. That's going to end up going to the federal Supreme Court to get him back on the ballot. Um, but it doesn't surprise me. I'll leave it at that. So, with that, and thank you for that, by the way, Hudson Valley, who is my brother from the other mother. And by the way, folks, for all of you amazing content creators in the chat, if you type the word vision, it will drop a link to your channel. Folks, go check out some of these amazing content creators in the chat. Go leave a like, watch a video or three, and subscribe to their channel if you like what they're doing, because nobody grows by theirself. Not one content creator on YouTube has grown by theirself. They've had help from other folks, other people, other subscribers, word of mouth, whatever the case may be. So folks, make sure you do that. So gauze and band-aids, you hear this thing called a boo-boo kit.
Yep.
And I'm like, what are we talking? We talking toilet paper and baby wipes, or what are we doing here? you know, because knowing me growing up, I my parents had more than a boo boo kit because I was that kid.
Mm.
Back in my day, we were taking planks and building bicycle ramps that went over 4 and 5 foot chain link fences. We were trying to be the next Evil Knievel growing up. So I have my fair share of broken bones and stitches and all that good stuff. So if you could do me a favor and explain the difference between a first aid kit and a trauma kit, if you can, to the best of your ability. I know you can, but without digging into the weeds.
Right. Well, it's funny you actually said the Boo Boo Bunny thing, because that's actually what I wrote on one of the first aid kits, because it's bandages and ointment, stuff like that. And I always told my wife, I was like, she's like, why do you call it the Boo Boo Bunny first aid kit? I'm like, because it's for boo boos, and
Yeah.
like, well, what is the other stuff for? I was like, well, that's for the bad stuff, and that's where the trauma comes in.
Hmm.
You might have something like a splint. You have trauma pads. You have rolled gauze, compression bandages, stuff like that, tourniquets, stuff where, if it's not treated sooner rather than later, is where you could possibly have somebody, succumb to the injury.
Yeah.
Whereas a first aid kit, that's just to stop a minor bleed, a cut, a laceration, bruises. Maybe somebody has a stomach ache and you have some stuff in there for that.
Hmm.
Whereas trauma, uh, you know, you can have some minor injuries involved in the trauma, but we're talking about large gashes or
Yeah.
possible broken bones, things that you're going to have to go to the hospital and or a doctor for further treatment on.
Exactly. So, and I know you do. I know you probably have, if not one, multiple IFAC kits.
Yes.
So let's we're going to talk trauma kits here for a minute, folks. So stick with us. Um, of course, y'all know we put together our own, what we have our own version called a VFAC, Vision First Aid Kit. So, what are some of the things you carry in your IFAC kit?
Well, I just put together one of these. I had basically put this together for like the gun range, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and it has tourniquet, it has compressed bandages, bleed stop. It just basically has everything I need in it to, if there were to be a penetrating wound. I don't have any chest seals like I'd like to have in here.
Yeah.
I sort of have all my medical stuff like sort of all about right now. I'm still trying to
Yeah.
consolidate everything and get everything in order, because I bought a couple new bags and I'm trying to get them into different areas, because like you said, I have one for my vehicle. I have stuff like small little boo boo bunny things. I even have something that I have in every backpack. It's like a waterproof little case here. It has like a lighter, some bandages, stuff like that. So
Right.
I have multiple different things, and they all are for different scenarios. And this is
Mm-hmm.
something I hope to, when I do get the chest seals, I hope to put a seal on it and never have to open it
Yeah.
till, well, I never hope to ever have to open it, but,
I'm
maybe
with you.
10 years to make sure that it's not you know, the materials aren't starting to rot away or anything like that. But,
Yep.
and that's really it. I used to, all the stuff in my house is typically set up in boxes or bags. So I have
Mm-hmm.
I have a bleeding control box where it has multiple different things, and that's for if I were to encounter something where I need to throw it in my car and go assist on something. Um, Whereas I used to have an old EMT bag, but I had it since I was an EMT, so a lot of the
Right.
stuff braided and got grody. So actually, I had to end up pitching the whole thing. But and that's exactly it.
Yeah.
These things do have expiration dates, and as
Yep.
much as you can use gauze for however long, there's other materials that go bad, and they go bad like the what is the compression, the cold compresses.
Yeah.
I've had those break in bags and just ruin everything. So
Yep.
you know,
Exactly. I try to keep those separate just because of that themselves. If they get that old, they'll bust and then it ruins whatever they touch. I this is my kit that I carry in my truck. And I mean, this thing has everything in it. And I keep, a tourniquet on the outside of it. And I probably have 3 or 4 tourniquets in this kit just because if I happen to come upon an accident, Lord willing, that I never have to use a tourniquet on somebody. But I have an additional 2 tourniquets in here. So, like you, I try to stay ready so I don't have to get ready.
Right.
And I have multiple sets of chest seals in here that, heaven forbid, if there's multiple gunshots on
Right.
multiple people, we can take care of that. But folks, you go through what you have. You should literally. I go through all mine, and I've got bags all over the house. In my car, I got one in the barn. I've got one in the shed. I've got 2 upstairs, 2 downstairs, because you never know where and when something could happen. And it would be just my luck that something happens if I'm on the property out in the woods. When I even go cut wood with my chainsaw, I take a VFAC kit with me just in case. So that if something happens, I can at least address the issue itself. By the way, folks, if you do have questions for Pennsylvania Preparedness, type your question in all caps, and some of my amazing moderators will bring it to my attention if and when I miss it. So there you go. So do you, I'm trying to figure out how I want to word this question. Do you feel more comfortable buying a pre-assembled kit, or would you prefer to customize your own kit?
I prefer to research each product, buy them on
Mm-hmm.
their own, and then
Mm-hmm.
sort of see how they fit into the bag. And then the best part about me doing all of that is I know what exactly I have, and I know exactly how it fits into the bag. And then on top of that, I know where in the bag it is for. So if I were to just open it up, I could probably instantly grab to the right spot and
Yeah.
grab.
Yep. And that's the same way I am with my bags. I compartmentalize everything, like bleeding. That's up front so that I know that if I need to get to that stuff first, I don't have to go digging through the bag and scrambling. Compression gauze and all of that, and tourniquets. I don't have to go digging for them. Fallen Skies Homestead and Preparedness channel. Welcome in, my brother. Good to see you. Good to see you. Dan H says, vision. Strap one tourniquet to outside of bag for immediate use. Dan, I have that. I have one strapped to the outside of the bag, and I have 2 more on the inside of the bag. Yes. Velcro is a wonderful thing. Best thing ever invented next to duct tape. Which I have in my bag also. And folks, keep in mind, I'll say this about tourniquets. If you are going to buy a tourniquet, 2 things. First of all, do not buy a tourniquet off of Amazon, please. Because there's a lot of counterfeits out there. And for your viewing pleasure, a real tourniquet from TCCC will have this on it. This is a cat tourniquet Gen 7 that is approved by TCCC. Okay, please, 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 sir, please, ma'am, buy from a reputable company when it comes to tourniquets, because this is probably the number one life-saving instrument that you could have in your first aid kit, in your VFAC, in your IFAC, in your first aid preparedness stuff. So buy from a reputable company. Personally, I would recommend either us, and that's fine if you don't, but buy from a reputable company such as North American Rescue, Refuge Medical. A lot of folks know Bear from YouTube. Buy from Refuge Medical. They have some amazing kits. And yes, I said it, even though we have our own, Bear puts out top notch quality products, folks. Um, so, make sure you use a real tourniquet. Second of all, for me, get proper medical training. Everybody should take a stop the bleed course and a CPR and AED class. Take it, plain and simple. Hudson Valley knows it. His guys, they teach it, they take it. We're going to teach it. Word on the street is if you come to Bug Out Weekend 2024 next year, folks, we may have a Stop the Bleed course for everybody. Working on that. So there you go. What else would you recommend first aid kits?
Um, one of the biggest things I would have to recommend wouldn't necessarily be a specific item, but you
Mm-hmm.
said get the knowledge, get prepared, learn what you're doing. But with that, um, know the limits of your knowledge. Like, for instance, in my I have an IFAC that has everything that I'm trained up to. So it has nasal
Mm-hmm.
airways and oral airways. Unfortunately, I can't just find that today, but
Right.
it's one of those things where if somebody were to come across that and open it up and they would be looking at some of these tools and they would be like, oh, I don't know what that even is. So, does that do them any good? Not necessarily, but, you know, is it nice to at least have it in case you come upon somebody that does have that experience? Yeah, but
Yep.
if you don't know how to use a nasal airway or an oral
Yep.
airway, don't put it in your pack. It's just sort of going to get in the way. So that would be something I would recommend. Same with tourniquets. All these people out there buy tourniquets, but they don't really learn how to put them on or the
Mm-hmm.
proper procedure. You having multiple tourniquets is great because one tourniquet doesn't always stop the bleed.
Right.
So, you can place two on the same limb
Yep.
to really make sure that that bleeding is stopped. So, some people might pull out the tourniquet and they might be like, "Oh, great, I have this," but they don't know what they're doing with it. So,
Right.
everything that you do get, learn how to use, and then if there's something that you just so happen to have, you know, if you don't know how to use it, just take it out of the pack.
Yeah. Especially NPR tubes. If you don't know how to use a nasal pharyngeal tube, forget it unless you get training because those are I've been trained on them finally. Fortunately, my oldest brother is a retired lieutenant on the fire department and medic, and I said, "Dude, you got to teach me how to use these NPR tubes because there's two different sizes. There's a size for adults, then there's a size for children." And he said, "Oh, dude, I can do it in my sleep." I said, "Of course you can. You've done it for 30 some odd years." So, he showed me how to do it. And there is gel you have to apply to the tube before you stick it in their nose, folks. Plain and simple. We got a question here for you from Wolfang. He said, okay, what about cleaning wounds? What is in your kit?
Okay. In this specific kit I had, where did I put that? So, all right. So for instance, this IFAC, it's just for you know, this is my range one. So Typically, for a penetrating wound like that, you wouldn't necessarily like. I do have some alcohol swabs in here, but for something like that, typically your first course of action is going to be, getting something on there to make sure that you're, um, oops. So just making sure that you're, controlling the bleeding, stuff like that.
Yes.
But yeah, you do, like you said, you do want to try to clean off the wound as best as you can. Sometimes, honestly, you might have parts of, for a penetrating wound, you might have parts of the shirt, you might have particles, you might still even be able to see the object that penetrated in. And sometimes the best you can do is clean it off the best you can. If you have alcohol swabs, if you have iodine swabs, stuff like that, great. Try to get it on there, get it as clean as possible before you start doing the rest of the stuff. But you know, and that's something I've noticed some people tend to miss sometimes. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's not like I have not like I'm gonna have a canteen of water or a giant thing of alcohol to.
I keep I keep saline solution in my kit to clean a wound
Yeah,
and then apply the bandage. Yep.
yeah,
But you're absolutely right. A lot of people may overstep that. Iodine or whatever you have um, to clean the wound, especially like you said, if it's a gunshot wound. Literally, before you apply a chest seal on it, I don't care if you rip your shirt off or rip a somewhat clean rag to wipe the blood away before you apply the chest seal because it may not stick.
right.
Exactly. Prepper Book Club asked, I saw his question. He talked about, what about Narcan? I don't carry Narcan.
I do have some Narcan in one of these, and that's the thing. I don't typically. It's not something I personally have to worry about.
Right.
However, um, if you're on the street, you might come across it. I was an EMT at a casino for a while, and Narcan, obviously was used there a couple times, but
Hmm.
um, you know, it's one of those things where you don't necessarily know. Like I know some people might be saying, "Oh, I don't have any of my family that does stuff
Yeah.
like."
Yeah.
It's like, how can you really tell? You have all these people saying like, "Oh, they don't do that." It's like, I know prepping with Sarge brought up a great point. The fact that yeah, they might not do that specific drug, but
Hmm.
what if they do another drug that let's just say is laced with it, or um,
Right.
maybe maybe you have teenagers in the house or something and they get into some pain medication or something like that and they
Yep.
don't know. So it's not something that I would necessarily say is bad to have, and you can get it for free a lot of places. Why not just have it? You don't have to make it front and center, put it in every pack, but just have it
Right.
somewhere in the house that, what if your neighbor comes to you knowing that you are one of the well prepared people and they say,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, my teenage son is having some medical episode. You take your bag over, the one that you have for everything, and
Yeah.
like, oh, I recognize what this is, and you might be able to help them out.
Exactly. We have another question. Ascentine85 said, what about dirt packing wounds to stop bleeds like DiCaprio did in The Reverend?
Uh, I I've heard that. I
Yeah.
mean, we've all heard rub some dirt on it kind of thing. I can't really give that recommendation. I've never done it. I've never
Yeah.
actually hurt in a wound, but if you really think about it, I mean, it could stop bleeding, but again, you're putting dirt directly into a wound, so
Yeah.
any cleaning that you did is gonna sort of go out the window, and you're really risking whatever contaminants are in that dirt going directly into your blood, and it might be okay in the short term, but in the
Yeah,
long term, you're risking a severe infection.
correct. And that's just like what they used to use to stop the bleed. Sea-Locks.
Mm,
They would pour Sea-Locks in the wound, and what they found out is once they've transported that person to the hospital, they have to be more evasive now to clean all of that out before they can do anything to the wound.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure dirt may stop, but I wouldn't do that. I would rip my shirt off first before I would use dirt.
Right.
Jay Creature, who, if you don't know who Jay Creature is, Jay Creature is the self-proclaimed Vision Preparedness Fan Club president of the Northeast Territory of these United States of America. And his question is, if I have a knife lodged in my coconut, should I leave it in or pull it out? I'm assuming his coconut is his head. So if he has a knife lodged in his head, should he pull it out or leave it in?
I mean, I would definitely have to say leave it in. You don't want to pull that out and risk taking a chunk out of your coconut or anything along with it. Better leave that to a professional. Not saying you're not a professional coconut knife taker outer, but
Right,
I would definitely leave that to somebody at a hospital, especially
exactly.
if you're able to get yourself to it. But
Right.
that would probably be one of those where even the people at the hospital are going to take a look at you and be like, "Oh, okay, we're going to have to figure this one out." So,
Exactly. And in the meantime, just leave that alone. Don't touch it. Don't pull on it. Just leave it there. We'll figure this out. He also asks, does Pennsylvania have Good Samaritan law?
yes, I'm pretty sure that the Good Samaritan law is for a majority of the country,
Okay.
if not the whole country. I never really took a look into that, but um, having having been an EMT, it's
Mhm.
kind of a little bit of a gray area because it's not like you can go up to somebody and try to give them a tracheotomy if they think they're choking, But at the same time, like if you are doing the best that you can, like for CPR or trying to
Mhm.
stop bleeding, you're gonna be covered. It's not something that you really have to worry about. However, if you try to do something that you saw on TV, then that's where it starts to get into the realm of a little bit more of negligent sort of actions. So, as long as you're acting in good faith, you honestly feel as though what you're doing is a simple way to help the person, you're going to be perfectly fine. I
Yeah.
People are always saying that they're so worried about getting sued, about even touching people nowadays. Um, but really, if you see somebody unconscious and you try to render aid, chances are, if it's something minor, you're going to be okay.
Right.
Just don't go invasive and try to cut or remove things. I guess that would be the best way to put it.
There you go. And yeah, F. Pierce said, I know she lives in PA. She said PA does, but there are exceptions. So everything you just said is dead on point. Um, and that's the thing, folks. As Pennsylvania said, as I think it was Hudson Valley who said the comment, stay within your training. That's why it's very important to get first aid training. Everybody should take it, without a doubt. You know, because everybody walks around. Oh, I like you said, everybody walks around. Oh, I got a tourniquet. I can save your life. Come here. They're shot. They've got a puncture wound here, and then they're trying to do this. And yeah, that no, folks, know where tourniquets are to be applied. Know where they're to be applied.
I saw Jay Creature had commented, "Could you stop a nosebleed with a tourniquet?" Applying it the way that you just did, would technically stop a nosebleed, but it's going to stop a lot more than the nosebleed too.
Correct. Yes, it will stop the nosebleed as well as my heart, my lungs, and everything else. Yes, Jay Creature. In theory, yes. Yeah. So Jay Creature is he's my guy, and he comes up with some hilarious stuff. Um, yeah.
I saw his comment about my current fashion statement.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not wearing basketball shorts, but I get where he's going with it for
Yeah.
sure.
Come on, Jay Creature. He's not like our kids. Our kids run around in hoodies and shorts in 100-degree weather, and then they complain about being cold in the winter. Yeah, come on. Exactly. But folks, first aid and the things that you prep are vital to you and your family, and anybody else you may come across that you may feel you need to help render aid to. You don't have to. You're not going to jail. If you see a car wreck and somebody's there, you don't have to stop. That is an individual choice. Now, I can remember I stopped. There was a wreck on an off ramp, and the car went as it was coming around the off ramp. It went off on the inside into nothing but woods, and the car like smashed into a tree and was buried in the woods. And me and about three other guys, you know, made our way down there and pried the car door open to get this guy out. And of course he was not hurt whatsoever. He had just said he had just drove from Florida 20 hours straight and fell asleep. He admitted it. I fell asleep. But fortunately he was not injured, but we had to pry the door open. Car was totaled, but he was okay. So Devil Dog, another one of my great Ohio friends and good friend of mine, said we use tampons for GSWs while in Iraq, but now they say not to do that. Comments?
Um, I've never plugged. Well, I've never. They don't. They're not standard stocking items on an ambulance first. So
Yeah,
typically, if I've run into one of those, I don't really have that equipment to plug it with. But I mean, you really think about it, it almost is a, I don't want to say perfect applicator, but you're taking it into a uh, open wound and you can insert it. So I mean, and then it's absorbent, so it's filling up, packing that wound. So that does have some merit. I could definitely see how that would be useful and it would probably do the job. Now, I don't know. Obviously, it's not something I use, so I don't know. I don't really know. I don't have them readily available for myself, but I could definitely see how that would come in handy. I know some people even say about putting them in the nose for nosebleeds. Again,
right,
not something I've ever done.
right.
Typically, I do rip off a piece of tissue, shove it up there, and wait for it to clot. But yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that being useful. And if it's something you've used before and it works, great. You could probably throw a couple of those in your stop the bleed kit, something like that. But
Yeah,
obviously, you're going to use other stuff, and you should have redundancies too. Maybe say the wound, let's say like a 22. I don't think you're going to be fitting one of those into a 22 wound. Maybe the
yeah,
exit, but
yeah.
yeah, yeah, I couldn't see it fitting into
Mhm.
a 22 entry wound.
Right.
So might as well have packing gauze anyways. So it's
Yeah.
almost, it might
And
be redundant.
and that's why, and I know you do too. I carry Quick Clot.
Yep.
hemostatic gauze, whatever it is, folks, that's specific. But if you have nothing but one of those female applicator things, go for it. I don't prep them. I have no need to prep them, and I won't prep them. Now, the COO, she may say something different because she's a female. And the daughters, they may say something, and that's fine. And I tell them, you prep them, you use them, so you prep them. Right. Dan H said Celox also burns the wound cavity. Right, Dan. That's why technically they don't recommend Celox because it burns the cavity and they really now have to do other stuff. And I'm way behind in the chat, and that's okay. Teresa, have a good evening. All American Prepper says, I've seen it used and it worked. Okay, there you go. I don't prep them. I don't use them. So there it is. Coffee First said, in the Stop the Bleed class I took, they said absolutely not. Right. It won't stop it bleeding because there is not enough pressure where it needs to be. You're right, Coffee. They said the same thing in my class. They said absolutely not, do not use them. It doesn't stop the bleeding. It absorbs the blood. It doesn't stop the blood. You need to pack it with gauze. Like you said, you got to get your finger in the hole with the gauze while you're packing. One finger in, holding pressure. You know this, Pennsylvania. You finger in, and yeah, you don't take your finger out. You pack it and pack it and pack it and pack it and pack it, and then put a gauze bandage around it and stop the bleeding. Yeah, but if that's all you have, go for it, folks. That's all I can say. I wouldn't recommend it. Period. So how long were you a medic, Pennsylvania?
Just for 6 years.
Just for 6 years.
Yeah. So basically, I was active EMT on an ambulance, and uh, I got a little tired of getting rained on and getting shot at, so
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
decided to get out of there, and
Yep.
I became an EMT at a casino, which was sort of nice. I didn't have to drive an ambulance, didn't have to go outside too much,
Right.
and really a majority of that, like there were traumas and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
A majority of the calls were honestly at a casino. It's mostly older people that forget to eat and they feel dizzy and pass out. So
Yeah.
a lot of it was diabetic issues. So all I do is get them some sort of sugary drink like orange juice and be like,
Right.
okay, I'll eat a sandwich and a hot dog, and you'll be fine
Right.
for a while. Just don't forget
Yep.
to eat again.
Now that's one thing I do prep. I do prep glucose.
Good.
Because we have a couple of family members and friends that have that issue. And so I actually gave one to a friend of mine at church one day, and I could see he wasn't 100%. And I said, "You okay?" He said, "No, I didn't take my medication this morning before I left to come to church, and I just need something to drink." And I ran out to my truck and had glucose in there and gave him a 3-pack. I said, "Here." I ripped it open. I said, "Drink this right now." And in about 5 to 10 minutes, he was good. So Jay Creature again says, no one in the chat asked about sunburn or frostbite. The one thing you will likely actually get. So have you ever seen frostbite?
Not actively on the ambulance. No.
Okay.
I've seen a person that had it, and
Mm-hmm.
like they had amputation stuff like that. Of
Mm-hmm.
I know, like I think it was their pinky, half of their pinky finger, and the tip of their ring finger.
Yeah.
Um, and they showed me pictures on their phone, but I have never encountered it in
Yeah.
person. Um, I think that's honestly pretty. I want to say that here in Pennsylvania, it's rare, but it does happen, and
Mhm.
that's something that sort of like I've never had a childbirth. I'm very grateful for that because that's one of the things I never wanted to do because
Yeah.
it becomes very messy. But yeah, frostbite, I've never encountered that, which honestly, as an EMT, the damage is already done by that point.
Yeah.
So you're just sort of preventing it from getting worse and, getting them warmed up, but not too fast, so they can bring their core back so they're not in shock or anything like that. Um, so again, I've never experienced, but
Yeah.
it's very good to know, and that's something that I don't think a lot of people would know how to treat. So that's a very good point. Same with sunburn, and me
Yep.
being very fair skinned,
Mhm.
I got a lot of aloe and I got SPF 100, got long sleeves. I'm ready for that, but
Yeah.
yeah, those are two things that are pretty common. Yeah, well,
Right.
sunburn common, frostbite very rare typically.
Yeah. And sunburn, and I think Prepper Book Club talked about, burn gel. I keep burn gel in my packs because you never know if you pull somebody out of a car that's on fire or a house fire or you catch on fire or the kids catch on fire. My brother was helping my mom with something at her house and took a pot off the stove and lifted the lid, and he got I think to me it looked like now a third-degree burn from the steam. And I was looking at his arm and I was like, dude, don't you have a kit, burn gel? He's like, no. I like whatever. But burns are nasty,
Yeah,
and burn gel is amazing stuff, and it will work.
yeah,
So folks, you just gotta think about it. Um, Anything that's possible. I know we can't prep for every trauma thing going on. One thing that we were talking backstage about, I said I think I have everything in here but sutures. And I wouldn't do sutures on a stranger. I just wouldn't do it because I'm not a doctor or a surgeon. Now, my family, oh, I will go get my disposable staple gun in a heartbeat and pinch the skin together and staple that wound closed and dress it and call it a day, you know. But know your level of training, folks. Um, Jay Creature said EMT, EMS are severely underpaid.
couldn't agree more.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you, Jay Creature. Um, Aston85 says prepping glucose, supposedly carnivore diet eliminates metabolic and inflammatory issues. I don't know about that carnivore diet, but for anybody that has low sugar and all that good stuff, glucose does level them out and bring them back pretty quick. Or like you said, a sugary drink or something like that. Robert Bates, good to see you. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. All American Prepper, welcome in. CUCV Farmer, and everybody else that I did not speak to. I personally want to say thank you for coming in. Applause are for you. For those of you that came through the door, we have with us today an amazing friend, Pennsylvania Preparedness, and we're talking first aid essentials. Sherry, welcome in. Good to see you. Storms, radios, and cats. Couldn't be a better solution. Um, Roman Prepper says, Jay Creature, heat illness, depending on time of the year, 110 in a house is no joke, especially down in Texas where Pete's at. 110 in Texas, folks, know the signs of heat stroke and all of that because it is real. And right, Prepper Book Club, he said now frostbite. Don't want that. Frostbite is no joke either. I mean, you can lose limbs and apertures and appendix fingers and everything else from that. Um, that's for sure. But so if you were going to buy a kit, and I know this is a loaded question, and you can just laugh at me and say next. If you were going to buy a kit, already prefabbed kit, how much would you spend on it?
It's funny because I actually, the one website that I've been going on to purchase a little bit of equipment is a Army Navy surplus store, and they do have some kits that are pre-made, and
Mhm.
I think one of the base ones that they have is $50. Now again,
Okay.
that's more of first aid stuff like that, but it comes in its own kit, and they have kits that are upwards of. I think the most expensive one that they have is $850, but that's a backpack, and it is designed for pretty much combat operation. It's kind of neat, but if I were buying a pre-made kit, I would probably have to say 150 would be my limit, but that's got to have a nasal airway. It's
Mhm.
got to have, um, you know, it should hopefully have two tourniquets. Like that would be more of a advanced kit, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you're probably going to find those upwards in the 200 range, probably. Which again,
Mhm.
if you don't have the time to build your own kit, it might not be the worst option. But again,
Right.
me personally, I prefer to purchase everything, put it in there on my own, and know where it is. And like you said, compartmentalize it. So then I know if I open it up immediately, the back half is going to be this, the front half is that, and I
Yeah.
can write to each piece. So, me personally, I'm building an IFAC, an advanced IFAC for probably, I think it's going to be $120 or so by the time I'm all said and done because I already have some of the I actually have the bag for it already. But
Uh,
yeah, it some of the stuff out there, like I know Rhino Rescue has some pretty cool stuff, and I saw a lot of reviews on the tourniquets, and I was really tempted to buy one just to give it a try.
yeah.
Uh, but a lot of the reviews on the tourniquets alone really impressed me, and
Yeah.
you get some pretty good stuff on there. It looks like so. I guess it all depends. You have to have your own price range.
Exactly. And like I always tell everybody, and y'all know it as well, stay within your budget, you know. Speaking of tourniquets, I saw about 2 or 3 months ago the TCCC, they approved some new tourniquets.
Okay.
And one of them is a ratchet tourniquet that ratchets down. It looks very similar to either a soft T or a Cat 7 tourniquet.
Hmm.
But when you apply it, it ratchets.
Yeah, I think I.
And I want to get one just to test it out and see how it works. But that's something I was like, well, now wait a minute, now that may be on to something.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but folks, if you're gonna put your own kits together, do your research on the products that are in it. Especially chest seals. You I now this is I'm not a doctor. I haven't stayed in a Holiday Inn Express in over 25 years. And the old will get that statement there if you saw the commercial. Um, I personally, chest seals, I would recommend hyphen chest seals with the one way vents, period. Vent out so air, especially if you have a what's the word I'm trying to think of?
Pneumothorax.
Yes, or bubbling wound where air is escaping. You don't want air to go back in it. Because if you get air going into it, folks, you got a whole nother issue that you're not going to be able to solve unless that person is physically in a hospital. But that's what chest seals do. They create a one-way vent, which means out. It can exit only, not go in. What time is it? Good Lord, it's 7:36. Wolfgang said, I'm missing the tourniquet from my first aid kit. Did you lose it or you don't have one yet to add to it, Wolfgang? Crystal R said, I printed a list from a prepper website and just got things from it that I thought I would need. Absolutely. Get what you need, folks. Get what you need for you and your family. Everybody's kit's gonna be different. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Right. Jones Truth said they have a kit with the airway included for $65. So there you go. OTCs, over the counter meds, folks. How many of you prep that in your kits? And I'll say this, and I'm sure Jay Creature is going to have an amazing comment on this. How many of you have ever had traveler's diarrhea? You know, how do you deal with that other than stopping every quarter mile to find a gas station to go running in to walk in there and there is no toilet paper? You know, bug bites, bee stings, stuff like that. Over the counter meds, Benadryl. And for folks that are pet owners, do you prep meds for the animals, for the fur babies? Cole has his own VFAC kit that has everything in it for him. And believe it or not, they have canine tourniquets. And you can use a regular human tourniquet on them as well. But you know, these are the things to think about, folks, especially if you have pets. Do you prep meds for your pets, first aid stuff for your pets, things like that? And so the roaming prepper said, Crystal, that's a good start. Now, as you learn more, you can add additional items you may be missing. Absolutely, folks. You don't have to go out and spend a gazillion dollars on this monster first aid kit. Okay? Start with the basics and build upon it. I've got a kit right here in a backpack that literally will take care of about 10 people. And I have two of these. I have one upstairs and one down here. So, you know, build upon your kits. And that was a pre-bought kit, and I just start swapping stuff out. The first thing I replaced in it was tourniquets because it had the rat tourniquets. Took all of those out and put, you know, golly, these in them. Cat tourniquets. Couldn't think of the word. Replaced them all with cat tourniquets. It is 7:40, folks. We're going to do 5 more minutes. James Trump, 24 Price, welcome in. I hope you're doing well. Hope the dinner show was amazing. Does anybody have Colleen Rich Pickett says refuge medical kits? Absolutely, Colleen. Absolutely, without a doubt. You cannot go wrong with any kit from Refuge Medical. I'll admit it, even though we have our own Refuge Medical, they do an amazing job. They have amazing kits. Crystal said, roaming, I really want IV start kits and NS 500 milliliter bags, but I do not know how shelf stable they really are. You got any insight to that, Pennsylvania?
Um, I mean, honestly, I don't know how long they would last. Um, I guess if you keep them dry, they might last a little bit past the expiration. That would probably be something that, unless you kept them in almost ideal conditions, you would probably want to swap them out regardless whenever the expiration comes up, just to stay on the safe side, because that's probably something you don't want to. That would be something you don't want to have go bad on you, or start to degrade and just basically burst and go all over everything.
You and me both, right? I don't prep IV bags. Um, we have a medic and a couple of nurses and a nurse to be in our group, so we're pretty good there. I trust the one medic that if somebody needs to apply an IV, that they can do it. Even the COO, I would trust her doing that. So she better. Her life and mine depends on it, so I know she would do a good job. J3GS Farm, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you, my friend. Dan H said, ratcheting tourniquet will keep positive pressure. If you stop applying it due to an outside event, whatever you applied stays. Right. So, worst case scenario, you're in somebody's trading freedom seeds with you, and you applied a tourniquet to somebody that's a ratchet. Once you ratchet it on and get it there, it's going to stay no matter what. And then you can continue. But the first thing, folks, before you apply aid to everybody or anybody, make sure you're in a safe place to do so. That's the first thing they teach you. F. Pierce says, VP, I have seen multiple kits on Amazon, 1,000-piece kits that are 99.9 brand aid. Do the research. Okay. I'm gonna be honest. There may be some good kits on Amazon. I'm not debating that. But for me personally, if I'm going to buy a kit, it's going to be from a company that does specialize in that only. And or the components for a kit, like North American Rescue. But yeah, you're right, F. Pier. There are some kits on Amazon. I also have seen many counterfeit tourniquets on Amazon as well, and we all know where they come from. Yes, thank you, Crystal. Yes, sucking chest wound is what I was trying to think of. Yes. But folks, it's something not to overthink or overlook. Rather, do your research on putting together a first aid kit and the essentials. Everybody kit's going to be different. If you have small kids, I guarantee you're going to have more band-aids than anything, especially if I was your child, because I just, it wouldn't be nothing for me to go growing up, going through a box of band-aids a week. The crazy stuff we did growing up, that just, that's just the way it is. F. Pierce said, the cats have their own medical bags. That's right. Exactly. Dusty Country Road, welcome in, welcome in. Michael Wolf said, go to the store and buy Pedialyte. Will help storage your system again. Yes, it will. Pedialyte does the work too. It hydrates you. Hydration salts, different things like that. That you can add to water. I mean, water will hydrate you, but there are other minerals and vitamins that you can get that will help you hydrate. All American Prepper said can't go wrong with Refuge Medical. They got the best stuff at a great price. They do. Take care, Roaming Prepper. Thank you for stopping in, Pete. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Crystal said in the hospital, they use Vaseline gauze to keep air from getting in. I could see that. Yeah. I'm not a doctor, so I can't attest to that. So it is 7:46. Any last words? I'm gonna give the last words to you, Pennsylvania Preparedness.
All right. Well, I know one of the things when we were talking about gunshot wounds is one of the things that stuck out in my mind. If you've ever watched a movie called, I think it's Three Kings,
Yes.
that has an incredible scene in it. I think it's Matt Damon. I think he's the actor, but one of them gets shot in the lung, and they do a great job at illustrating that in that one part. So if anybody out there has ever been curious what that actually would look like inside, check out that movie, Three Kings. Just type in Three Kings movie with, gunshot scene or something like that. And it's a pretty cool scene. If every movie could do that for, a lot of the injuries, you'd have people understanding how medical stuff actually works. So,
Right.
That, and also another thing that I was thinking of is bandanas. One of the Boy Scouts I was always taught is you can take off your neckerchief and use that as a tourniquet if need be. Obviously a tourniquet is a lot better, like a brand name one. But that's all I can think of. I think this was a great show, and I'll let you take it from here. I appreciate you having me on tonight.
I appreciate you. And folks, please, if you have not, please go over and subscribe to Pennsylvania Preparedness channel. He's doing some great things over there. I've watched some of his videos. I've been in some of his live streams. He is doing the things, folks. He is a good person, and he may be a Bug Out Weekend 2024. Don't know. He may be. He's a neighbor. All of my Ohio people, he's to the east of us. So you never know. But with that, folks, I want to thank everybody for taking the time to join the live stream tonight. Truly, truly, truly appreciate you. And remember this, folks. Keep prepping because your family depends on you and it depends on your life. This is Vision Preparedness. God bless everybody. Have an amazing evening. Stay safe. Keep prepping. Keep doing the things. Don't worry about the mayhem that is going on in the world because we as a community will not only survive, but we will thrive because we stay ahead of the curve. Take care. And we'll see you in the next video, folks. The time is now.